Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, and we will go straight over to those charts. That's the right way around. There we go. So yeah, as you can see, we are getting held up by this the bottom side of this support zone, 11,500, which is it's obviously good to see. I think it has come to the point in time now where we are going to have to adjust again this trend line, just because that's what price action is telling us to do. So if you put it in like that, we now have a slightly amended downside trend line to this potential ascending triangle. So it still works in the ascending triangle, so there's no point in obviously just scrapping the idea completely just because the dimensions are changing a bit. Obviously we don't know how it's gonna fully develop until the pattern does develop, even if it does, and then it can break out the other way anyway if it wants to, but for the time being I think adjusting it like that does work better. So going forwards, it just means that we've got a better chance of this line being more important going forwards. Obviously we've got this downside line here that we've had drawn, this which is around 11k, well around 11k, which is sort of the bottom side. We could potentially just be trading in a rectangle. So ascending triangle or rectangle, and are we going to break up or are we going to break down? They're the four questions that we've got. They are the questions that we've got of Bitcoin. So seem to be trading a bit sideways, which is to be expected at the weekend. We don't always see like big moves over weekends because obviously lots of market participants aren't there playing, and also major markets aren't open for direction also. So we do tend to wander around a bit aimlessly. Obviously we do get the occasional big moves, but those usually the better moves with volume just will obviously happen during the week. We'll have a quick whiz through. I don't think we've seen anything really TD wise much usefulness really recently, but we now do have a 12-hour 9, so that is something for us to keep an eye on. How long have we got left this candle? Only 3 hours left, so realistically we can draw a level at the top of this candle, which incidentally is the top of this one also. So I would say taking out that high, which is at well 11,680, 11,690, taking out that high would activate a 12-hour TD buy trade, and that would I would guess that would be good enough to get us to at least this top of this range. So that is definitely something I'm keeping an eye on. Because we haven't had a lot of TD action in Bitcoin recently, just because we've been stuck in this range, so it's obviously harder to get the TDs when we keep price flipping. So yeah, I mean we can see it on the chart. It does look like a clear level. We've got the top of this candle, the open of this candle. Sorry, yeah, we've got basically the close of this candle, and then yeah, where we opened here. And if we take out those two candles, then we will. Yeah, we will likely trigger some upside. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking there, TD wise. Let's have a look at those stochastics, see if we can get any indication of those. I'm always a little bit more wary of stochastics at the weekend, just because we are just because price it tends to be drifting, so it's not really the actual real price action driving the stochastics for a couple of days, especially shorter time frame ones. So I'm a little bit more wary of them, but 4 hour though nonetheless is just snaking around towards the bearish zone. So obviously at any point it wants to kick into gear. It's got a long way to run to the upside, but that'll potentially happen tomorrow if it's going to happen, or this late this evening when CME is open. 12-hour Stokes, as you can see, getting very deep now, so these are going to struggle to keep going down for much longer. So we will have the 12-hour Stokes on our side, and 10-hour Stokes similarly as well, very deep, looking to try and turn back round. So yeah, we could have a 4-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour. Just quick look at the daily again. Yeah, daily's come down quite nicely now though. So we could, if we do turn around in the daily, we have got a nice room to run, whereas obviously we didn't whilst we were obviously up here just playing this little bit of stochastic action. So yeah, we really could have a good level of confluence with these lower time frames. Obviously then the higher time frames are now going to be turning, so we've got the 2-day turning down, the 3-day turning down, 5-day looking to turn down as well, and weekly is okay for the time being. If we do get that move up, that break up like we're talking about above this, let's go to the 4 hour. If we get a move up above here, up to the top of the range, about over 12k, we will still be all good on these. I think on these higher time frames, but yeah, we will then also have definite confluence with these lower time frames, including 10 hour and 12 hour. So I think that would that would, if that happens, I think that would get us through the top of this triangle and have a nice big spike up. That would be my bias as to the higher likelihood event, the higher likelihood scenario. Obviously we've got downsides clearly marked out. We've always got 11,500 and 11,000. We've got this trend line, which basically at the moment is 11,500, so that's the same thing. So yeah, we're still fine even if we break that, even if we get down to here. But if we break this, it starts to look bad, and if we break this, then it is bad. So that's a downside. So yeah, that is about it, guys. I was reading something interesting about the Turkish lira, and how that's having a big influence on the Bitcoin price. Because they are swapping out of the Turkish lira into Bitcoin when things are starting to look bad over there. And then when Erdogan, I think, comes out with like some rubbish about finding big oil fields, so they'll be able to balance their budgets, then money comes out of Bitcoin and goes back into the Turkish lira. So that, whilst obviously been specific to the Turkish lira, it does look to like it is being a big driver of the Bitcoin market, in all fairness. And then just the principle of that, though, if countries do start to have problems with their currencies, which a lot of emerging markets are looking like they're having now. I mean, we do the forex one, Turkish lira, obviously, Brazilian real, Mexican peso holding up a little bit. The South African rand will probably be coming under pressure. The Argentinian currency, what are they? I forgot what it's called now. They will likely come under pressure, and we will start to see a bit of a maybe a bit of a feed into Bitcoin, which will be interesting. To see that, in all fairness. So yeah, that is it, guys. Oh yeah, one last thing I wanted to say about that currency thing. So obviously we've got their emerging market EM currencies, and then we've got developed market DM currencies. That will obviously be mainly an EM feature, and obviously emerging markets aren't included in the dollar index. So the dollar index, whilst it's still looking weak, the dollar is actually strengthening up in like a wider trade weighted basket that the Fed used to release, but they don't release the trade-weighted dollar index anymore. But that did include emerging market currencies. It's just a wider variation of currencies, and the dollar is starting to strengthen against those. Basically, that's my point. So it will be an interesting dynamic between maybe if the dollar starts to see wider strengthening in the DM markets against DM markets, so i.e. the DXY start to go up. Obviously, don't forget that DXY is mainly euro. It's like 40+% euro. But yeah, if that starts to strengthen, but we are seeing, especially emerging market currencies, which are in the DXY, they are starting to fly into Bitcoin like they are doing in Turkey. Then we could actually see Bitcoin start to go up whilst the dollar strengthens. So an interesting dynamic we could see come into play. Things aren't always as simple as history repeating, as what happened in the past happens in the future. The same trends change. They catch people, they blindside people, they don't expect it, and you maybe could be in for one of those blindsiding people aren't expecting it trades in Bitcoin once markets do start to look a bit bad. And the dollar just starts to strengthen, and then well, not even on the margins, but basically people start to, especially in emerging markets, start to actually move into Bitcoin as a better source of liquidity and to hedge their pricing, their their purchasing power. So interesting dynamic that we will get to see in real time together, see how it works. But alright, thanks for listening, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I will speak to you guys later on today.